What's going on, everybody? TheKennyDubz here with another Mega Man X character overview video. Today we're going to be taking a look at New Year's Iris as she releases soon on the global version. Alright, here we are taking a look at New Year's Iris. As per usual, she looks adorable because she's Iris, but I also really like the the Shrine Maiden aesthetic as well. Quick look at the splash screen here. Very nice there. And let's take a look at her active skills. So first up, we have the Demon Breaking Arrow, deals 177% attack damage to the target and render it immobile. This is very good, as it will render it immobile, so you know there's not a chance of it happening. So for the modifier chips, we have the Hostility Repulsion, eliminates damage enhancement status from after hitting the target. Manic Repulsion eliminates acceleration status after hitting the target. And then we have Disturbance Boundary, cause interference when hitting the target and spells a new buff 3 times. This is probably the one you're going to have on the most. These modifier chips, none of these are particularly good for PvE. So you're probably just going to have this on the most because this dispels 3 buffs as opposed to these two just dispelling 1 buff. For PvP, if you're using Iris for that. So yeah, this is definitely her best modifier chip there. Next up, we have New Year's Dawn. New Year's Dawn deals roughly 167% attack damage, continuous damage to the target, restores HP, all targets in range, and then restores their own HP. I don't know how much HP this restores. I can't find any critical information about that on the wiki, so I don't know about that. But the modifier chips on this skill as well are more suited for PvP, as you'll see in a moment here. Field resistance, immune to mobilize and slow effect. This can actually be used in PvE. Which it actually might give some pretty good value out of it in there, just because of these two effects are pretty prominent in PvE and they're quite annoying. I also like how this is actually a combination skill. By combination skill, I mean either 50% chance to become immobilized, 50% chance to become immune to 2 separate effects, as opposed to, you know, just one or the other. And then having the, like, say, having immobilized on this modifier chip, and then having slow resistance on the other modifier chip. I like that a lot, and I don't think too many other characters have this kind of thing. I would prefer if this wasn't on a modifier chip, to be quite honest, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Disable Resistance, and this one I like a lot. 50% chance to become immune to the effects of no weapon and no skills. That's pretty good. You don't want to hit with Skill Seal, as it means you can't use your abilities, and getting hit with no weapons means you can't use your weapons. So just having an innate resistance to that is pretty nice as well. But again, I prefer that not being on a modifier chip. I prefer something else useful to be here. Oops, I hit my my pop filter. Hope you didn't hear that. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. And then we have Light of Purity. When casting, skill, remove all negative status effects you have. See, I'm always kind of ambivalent about modifier chips like this, just because, while they do have their merit, they are really good. But the statuses that I would like to remove, these can't remove, because the two that I would like to remove, like, you know, on the spot immediately, would be Immobilize and Skill Seal. But I can't do that if I'm immobilized or if my skills are sealed. So there are other things you get, like Chilled, Slow, you know, Dot or damage over time, continuous damage, as it calls it in this game, and things like that. But yeah, it's not too bad. Again, I think this is okay in PvE. I think this is probably better in PvP, though. Again, in PvP you have to worry more so about stun and skill seal, though. Being able to just cure yourself on your status effects would always be pretty nice to have as well. Now, onto the passive skills for New Year's Iris. First up, we have the New Beginnings. At the beginning of a stage, gain an enhanced defense status, which decreases damage received by 40%. This effect cannot be removed. This skill will only be activated once per stage, can be activated again due to the effect of renewal. That's quite nice there. Now, this lasts for 25 seconds, which is quite nice. So you have 25 seconds of just a flat 40% damage reduction, which is very nice. Most characters don't have something like this, and this cannot be removed, which is huge as well, because especially in the global version, and I guess really in the Taiwan version as well. But Grudge Axe is a thing. You know, the DNA skill Scourge is a thing, which if you inflict, by inflicting interference, you dispel all buffs on the target. So with this, you cannot be removed. So that's really nice there, and I do like that. However, you'll get to see it in a moment why I'm kind of like on it, like I'm kind of just like lukewarm on it. Next up, we have Exorcism. When using Demon Breaking Arrow, an additional beam of light it will be generated that deals that deals damage equal to 66% of your attack, after which the beam will continue to move to those other targets and collect 25% attack damage. Not bad there, just additional damage when you use your demon breaking arrow, which ironically enough, I also like this skin because it makes me think of Inuyasha of Kagome. But that's just something else entirely. But like seeing seeing her read this, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I kind of want her for this reason, but like not really much else. Except we have good continuation. After the effects of new blessings wears off, it gains a damage enhancement status that cannot be removed, and the damage dealt is increased by 40%. So after new beginnings wears after the 25 seconds, you swap your damage mitigation for damage amplification by 40%, which is okay. I prefer to have these both active at the same time, but I think that'd be kind of a lot on a unit. Though I think it'd be good for News Iris because she's kind of underwhelming in the PvP sense. She does have good buffs though. But yeah, you have to like your damage mitigation switch a lot. You don't have them active or roughly around the same time. Next up, we have Prayer for Blessings. When using Demon Breaking Arrow, reduce prep time. Wow, I don't know why I stumbled over that. Okay, Demon Breaking Arrow reduces the prep time of New Year's Dawn by 1.5 seconds. So instead of, sorry about that, I had to clear my throat again there. So instead of a 6-second cooldown on the New Year's Dawn, you have a 4.5-second cooldown, which is very, very nice there. It means you get to use it more frequently. And then increases the recovery power of New Year's Dawn by 25%. When New Year's Dawn hits the target, there's a chance to randomly move a buff. The chance to randomly move a buff, I believe, is about 50% based on the wiki. And, you know, that's cool too. So it gives you a chance to dispel on your other skill. And then the amplified healing by 25%. I don't really know what that means. Yes, I know what increase of 25% means, but I have no like point of reference, right? I know it heals, but how much does it heal? I don't know. So telling me that increase by 25% doesn't really tell me anything like relevant. I mean, like I have no critical information about, you know, about the recovery amount. So that could be nice, or it could not really be nice, depending on how much it recovers inherently. And then finally, we have Renewal, which is quite interesting here. After the effect of good continuation wears off, it gains a renewal status, which cannot be removed. The effects of damage enhancement, damage defense enhancement, and acceleration increase by 40%. After this effect wears off, new beginnings also be triggered again. So this passive allows you to get both of these plus a speed boost. The buff from this, plus a speed boost, which is really, really good. The problem is New Year's Iris has to be active for 50 seconds in order to get to the point where she can have, you know, the really good buff on her, right? So that's a little bit of a decol in there, but and then after this wears off for 25 seconds, you start cycling back through them again. So then you go through this, you get enhanced defense, you get enhanced damage, and then you're enhanced everything. So this kind of means that your playstyle might end up shifting a little bit. Like you might play a bit more defensive. Or isn't there? You could even play more recklessly just because you have the defense enhancement, and then you can be more aggressive once you have this, and then this one you could just kind of do whatever. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that you have to wait so long in between the stacks for them to be active. Maybe her DNA will change that. Speaking of DNA, New Year's Iris does not have DNA yet, so I have nothing here to show here for you in the gold version of the game. She will be getting her DNA next reset. So by the time this video goes up, after the next Taiwan reset, or even maybe after the maintenance later tonight, New Year's Iris will have her DNA. But Global won't be getting it for another year regardless, because we can't get it. It's not in our build. Most likely, anyway. So since she doesn't have any DNA to go over, we're just going to jump right into the weapons portion for her. Alright, and because she doesn't have any DNA or any just inherent damage amplification or mitigation for any specific weapon types, you can kind of just pick what you like and use with her. So like I usually tend to recommend, you could go the Buster Melee hybrid combo. So Explosive Bolt, you get your Explosive Bolt going here. Maybe your Air Buster for the speed, if you're doing hybrid Buster Melee combos there. Explosive Bolt allows you to be more offensive. It's a fantastic weapon. And then, as per usual, I recommend Player Killer over Penetration, because Penetration requires a lot more effort to get value out of, whereas Player Killer, you can just exist with it, and it's more consistent because you don't have to like set up this neat little place where you can, yes, potentially deal more damage, but like on a more open map, it'll be harder for you to get value out of Penetration than it would be to Player Killer, or it might just be harder to get value depending on where the engagement is taking place in the first place, as if you don't have like any good places to ricochet the shot off of, then Penetration, you won't get as much value out of it as you would Player Killer, because Player Killer not only increases the damage of your shots, but also your skills that you use while the weapon is active. And then Air Buster just has Swift Wind, and if you're doing Buster melee, that'll be good because it will allow you to just engage or disengage freely with Swift Wind, because you'll have potentially speed boost active at basically all times. And then you can come in here for a hidden skill. Maybe go homeopathy adaptability on if you're using with Iris. Maybe okay, or defense application would be decent as well for that. And then for the melee weapons, Nightmare, of course. Nightmare is just a fantastic weapon. You can just use Nightmare as a utility weapon as well if you want. And what I mean by that is you just swing it around and you get the attack buff on it, so you don't really have to even necessarily pizza cut with it, though pizza cutting with it is also a valid option that you can do. But the reason I say that is because you swing your weapon, I think it's actually this one, right? And get your... Yes, every time you use a Blaze Lock. So this is why you just see people swinging around Nightmare when they're using it, just because you get an attack just by swinging it around. Ancient Relic's also a good weapon as well to have, because of the hidden skills allow you some utility. You can get speed, you can get a shield, you can get crit damage increase, or you can get a Suna. I think speed is typically the best, but if you're using New Year's Iris, maybe you want to go shield. She doesn't have any inherent shield or iframes on her, which is a big downfall of hers. So maybe you want shield on her, but I think speed is typically the best on this weapon. Of course, we cannot forget about the Grudge Axe. As per usual, I don't really like this weapon, but this weapon is very, very good. What this weapon allows you to do is not only inflict the out of control status, which basically reverses the opposition's horizontal movements. So if they press left, they're going to go right. If they press right, they're going to go left. So it might take a bit of a second for them to reorient themselves with that. You can also steal a random buff when attacking, so that's good for buffs that can be stolen, though some buffs cannot be stolen, so you won't just be able to just yoink off every buff, which is good for New Year's Iris because her buffs cannot be removed. And then this doubles the trigger rate of Spirit Possession, Spirit Damnation, although it's actually I don't know what the chances for this. Okay, so for Spirit Damnation, for this chance of stealing a buff is actually 30%, and this actually buffs it up to 60%, it seems, based off of the wiki. Yeah, double trigger rate. Yeah, okay, so then yeah, this would go up to 60. And then for the hidden skill, actually no, never mind. Hidden skill isn't in global yet, so I'm not going to talk about that. Another option you can do is double launcher is a thing you can do as well, with Turbo Cannon and the either Cannon God or Decides Will. I say Cannon God or Decides Will because Decides Will is the better option, but if you don't have Decides Will, you can use Cannon God. And the reason I say Turbo Cannon is because what Turbo Cannon allows you to do is Turbo Cannon allows you to get iframes with the character by, if you get the hidden skill over your protection, it allows you to just get iframes while you have when you run out of ammo. However, like I say, per usual, be careful unlocking this skill, because what this does is increases your range and energy by 10%. This sounds good in on paper. However, what this does is this gives you an extra ammo, so it'll take you a bit longer to get to your empty clip. So that means it takes you a bit longer to get to your iframes on this. It's just something you have to look out for if you've unlocked this. You can get away with it, but it'll just like play with things a little bit so that you won't be able to get to your iframes as quickly. And then here, Decides Will, fantastic weapon. It's just, you can just put Decides Will on like any unit realistically and do well with them. This weapon has pretty good range, as lock-on status as well. And one of the big things about this is that it pierces terrain, but also this weapon will still auto aim even in a state of confusion. So even if you get confused by I don't know, Dark Mega Man EXE, Dr. Mega Man gets these Life Sword or Dark Sword because of his, I think it's his 5-star passive, or maybe off of Kernel or something. Your auto aim will not be disabled because this weapon just cheats, and it won't be disabled. So if you have the Sides Will, you can put it on basically any character and do well with them. And then, because I mentioned it earlier, I just want to mention the Cannon God. Cannon God is basically the Sides Will at home. It does essentially the same things. It's a bit weaker, as you would expect. Though this does have the option to immobilize, I think on the 4 or 5-star passive. I don't remember. I don't have it unlocked on this account, as you can see. But if you have it unlocked, you can check it out in game or over at the wiki, where I get some information from sometimes. This does pierce terrain as well, I believe, at 4 stars. So there is that there. And like I said, you can use this in place of the Sides Will, though this is not as good. All right, moving on to some cards for New Year's Iris. It was a little bit hard for weapons for her because she doesn't have DNA, and she's getting DNA soon, so I don't know what's gonna be in the future for her. But card wise, I think you can just go with like kind of your usual suspects here. When I say usual suspects, I mean like your player killers, maybe your damage amplifications or mitigations depending on what weapon you're using. And because of the player killers, let's go ahead and find our life aura card. Well, first up, our Akuma card, because we found Akuma first. Master of the Fist gives you damage and damage mitigation in PvP, so that's nice there. And it will stack with any level of player killer just because it's called something different, so it will stack no matter what. The M Bison card has player killer 2, and max rank it should have player killer 3, so you will have that on top of confusion resistance there, so that's nice. You don't have to worry about confusion at all, though I don't think you're going to really run into confusion all that much. And then here we have the player killer on the Life Aura card. Now, the Life Aura card is actually pretty interesting because you can stack 2 of these together, one at 5-star and one at less than 5-star. And you get player killer 2 and player killer 3 if you're not running it in your DNA already. And then we have the Sigma X4 card as another option for player killer as well. And then aside from those, there are 2 budget options that immediately come to mind when thinking of player killer, which I mention as well frequently, but I always like to throw these in just because they're budget options, and some people might not have, the high rated card, even though you can get the base EXE card from base and Sigma from the token shop, in case you don't have those yet. You get player killer from the MAC card. You do have to RNG your way into these from a card pack, but it's still an option there for you to have access to. It only goes up to player killer 2 at max rank as well. And then there is the Wheel Gator card as well, if I can, here it is, which you can make in the lab as player killer 1. Max will have player killer 2, but you can also stack 2 of these together and then pop out a yellow card as well to get max player killer. Or rather, to get player killer 1 and player killer 2, not max player killer. And then if you're opting to go for the Buster Melee hybrid combo that I suggested earlier, Elite Hunter is going to be your best bet. It just has double amplification, Buster Melee, and double ability Buster Melee. That means you have damage amplification and damage mitigation in your kit. And if you're running this build in particular, when your damage amplification is up, you're gonna have 50% damage, and when damage mitigation up, you're gonna have 50% damage mitigation. So that's quite nice as well. Otherwise, you'll just have plus 10% to either one, and then no, actually you would have more because you run 2 of these at a time. So you have what, 58% damage and 58% damage mit, which is not too shabby, to be quite honest. Cutting damage in half or increasing your damage by 58% is quite nice, especially without a whole bunch of inherited DNA. And then I believe there is another option. I think it's successfully completed. Has if I can find it, I don't remember exactly where it is. Oh, something else I forgot. Violin card also has player killer 2 or player killer access on it, which you can utilize for that as well. But the successfully completed card, it's a card you get from your guild as well. I didn't mention it on the other card on the Elite Hunter, but you get that from your guild through RNG. So if you don't have that, maybe you lucked into one of these. It's double amplification, Buster Melee 3. It doesn't have double mitigation as well, but it's better than nothing. And this just needs a blue and a green here. And again, you can get this from your guild as well. Alright, I think it's going to be it for New Year's Iris. I wish she had DNA so I had a bit more to talk about with her, because I actually kind of like her for PvP, to be quite honest. I just don't think she's all that great for it. She's lacking in quite a few things, like inherent iframes for one. Her DNA, like I said, isn't quite there. She doesn't also didn't have any inherent damage amplification mitigation, but I think one of her biggest issues is like her damage, her amplification and mitigation come in waves, until you hit that 50-second mark, and then she hits both. Outside of that, I think she's okay. I definitely think she'll be usable in PvP, but she's not going to be anything like too insane, right? I definitely think she'll be usable though. PvE wise, uh, sure, you can get away with using basically anything in PvE. I don't think she's too particularly good for PvE. She does have a heal though, so she does have a lot of sustain in PvE, so there is that. And she has her arrow gets a little bit of extra oomph as well. But I think it's better units in PvE like Dive Armor X, so there's that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll channel to show me enjoying the content. And I'd like to throw a quick shout out to my YouTube channel and my Patreon for they're continuing to support me, allowing me to do what I do. If you can support me as a YouTube channel member or as a patron, you can figure out how to do so down below in the video description. And I'll catch you guys next time. Later.